we good? Good. All right, 3:20. Final session of the afternoon. We are going to transition from spending a good part of the day so far on broadcast. We're going to spend the last session of the day here starting to talk about fandom. And then tomorrow we're going to get into brand, partnerships, and wrap it up at the end of the day tomorrow. At the end of the session, and when Damon's done here, we're actually going to have a session where we're going to bring all the presenters back from today and consolidate it all before we leave today. And if you all really behave and ask good questions, we'll be out of here before 5. I'll guarantee I'll give you an extra couple of minutes to get ready for tonight. So I'm going to introduce our next presenter. Our next presenter, Damian Browarnik, is a managing director for WSC Sport. You may have seen the display outside as well. A global leader in AI-driven sports content automation. Wouldn't have even said those words, I don't think, 4 or 5 years ago. Leads global client relations, ensuring that sport organizations are maximizing the value of AI-driven solutions. Today, you are going to hear from Damian, not just about the understanding of the fan, but how to use the information he's going to provide and really start to expand your content, expand your reach, and affect your overall business. So Damian, welcome to the seminar.
Thank you very much. Hi, everyone. Good to be here. Before we start, a quick game. I guess most of you are familiar with this video. So my question to you would be, how many stories do you think we can generate out of one video? We're talking about, when the presentation works, one play. Get ready. Clémentine? Voilà.
Try to force it to him if he's open. Here is Ovechkin, shoots, he scores! He scores! Number 895!
Any ideas? So many, right? You can have the player cam, the ref cam, the audience, the reaction, behind the scenes. Every single angle can become another story to tell. And this is exactly what we are experiencing today. Now the question is, aren't we overloading our fans? Can they really take so much content? Can we somehow use it? Our belief, yes. In one breath, the full hour is fans fall in love in the mid content, meaning the vertical, the mid-form content, and they stay because of the live and the OTT. But in order to get them, you need the discovery. And what I'm going to talk about today is how to build these kind of journeys. And these journeys today are not owned by us, the rights holders. Who own them? Who is the one really leveraging those? Who? Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. They own the journey. And our challenge, our task is to build these relationships and own them. And unless you own these relationships, someone else will. I'm Damian. Nice to meet you all. I'm VP Account Management at WSC, recently acquired by WSC. So we used to be part of Infront with good colleagues and friends. And now we're part of WSC, the entire unit. We can talk about it more. But my focus today is around WSC and around what we bring to the table. WSC is a tech company. We have tech to help our partners grow their fan base and provide them with experiences that are tailored by technology, by AI. We started our journey 13, 14 years ago when AI was not a thing. It was, what? Model, ML. Today, we all experience with OpenAI, with Perplexity, with so many amazing tools. We see this already in action. We have many clients from the rights holder side to the broadcaster side, but also teams and clubs. And what we're trying to do is to tailor our experience, our technology to our partners. And what you're going to see today is what we create for our partners. I'm going to cover 6 points. Hopefully, as Dean said, we'll be done by 4:30. We go to the beach and we enjoy this lovely city. But before we do so, I really want to thank the IHF and this entire organization for an amazing event, for great organization. So thanks a lot for having us and for this great event. We will start with why now. We will then move to what is the real battleground. What are we talking about when we say rented versus owned? What does it mean? We will then go on the how, so the system itself. I'm not sure if you hear me, but this mic is, it's fine like this? Good. So we will talk about the how, then we'll show you some examples, and to be very honest here, what I try to do is to take examples outside of the hockey world, not because we don't have examples from the hockey, but I think it's important to get also ideas from others. Others are doing amazing things. The IHF is doing amazing things, but let's try and learn also from other organizations that are experiencing the same issues. Then we will go to what I believe is really the next fandom, talking about the next gen. I think Jamie hinted a bit about his son playing soccer and he loves Messi and he can watch, you said what, 6 hours of highlights. That's exactly that. And the question is, how can we address this audience? If we believe that we can offer them live and they will watch, we don't understand. We don't. Unless we do something different, we will lose this audience. And this is what we're trying to tackle. And we will, of course, finish with the commercial aspect because everything needs to be paid somehow. So we need to generate new revenues. We need to make money so we can really make it sustainable. The shift. I guess this is not new to you, so I'll go quite quickly. The first is we see the change. The market is changing. Whether we believe it, whether we want to believe it, the market is changing. And here are some facts. Younger fans prefer highlights over live games. They prefer to watch highlights. It's too long, it's too boring. They want the highlight, they want the hook. But they also want a shorter highlight. Not only that they want the highlight, they want the shorter highlight because they need the hook. They need to stay relevant. And we all know it, right? When we start scrolling, we scroll and scroll and scroll, and we move from football to hockey to something completely different. And then we lost track. In today's world, the chances that the fans that met you for the first time in a story will meet you again in a story are very low because we all fight for the same attention and we all use mobile. We're using mobile because this is convenient. We use it, it's in our palm of our hand. What we need to do is just scroll. But the content, let's ask ourselves, are we creating content that is relevant for vertical? When we create a highlight, is it relevant for vertical? When we produce a game, is it relevant for vertical? Some yes, some no. But we need to do something about it. And we need to make sure that we get the hook and then move on to the next level. that's the last one before the last slide on the facts. But we also see, and this is from YouTube, that fans are expecting to get more content. More content, not in terms of formats, but in terms of the right content. Behind the scenes, interviews with players, they need it. They want it. They want deeper relationships with the fan, with the club that they follow, with their idol. They want to get to know them better. And what we, as production, as rights holders, need to do is to provide them that. Because otherwise, they will go elsewhere. And what we need to do, and I want to praise our also partners from Sportway and DMC, because we're doing an amazing job together with them in Sweden when we started creating content behind the scenes with players in handball. And suddenly, people get hooked because we have this opportunity. And when we, as part of IHF TV, together with Infront and Sportway and IHF, create content of the legends, of behind the scenes, of different podcasts, suddenly the fans react to that. They feel part of the game. They get closer to the game. And this is exactly what we're trying to do. Now, this is here to stay. This is here to stay. If we think that suddenly linear TV will then go back and dominate the way it was, it won't. Yes, it will change. We will shape and mold, but things are changing. And we need to adapt, and we need to get ready for what's coming. People are consuming, and I think Peter spoke about it, about the changes in the subscription, the changes in so many things. We need to adapt. We need to understand that the lean forward approach is here to stay. And I think 10 years ago, when we spoke about the second screen, we all felt that the second screen is the mobile. We all know now that the TV has become the second screen, and the mobile is the first screen. And probably the shift is where the CTV, the smart apps in the smart TVs, are becoming the first screen, because, again, this is the lean forward approach and not the lean back. Now, I hinted a bit about the real battleground, because we all think about, again, content and stories, etc. But the real battleground is the rented versus owned. And I have some examples. What you're going to see here is some numbers from our partners, La Liga, where we all agree that they're one of the biggest properties out there, doing really amazing things around production, around storytelling. They have what it takes. They have the funds. They're doing an amazing job. And still, what we can see in the owned and operated is that they have, on a regular video, they will probably get 60K users, video views. Sounds like pretty low, right? Where are the fans? What do we need to do to get them? Do we need to now bring new fans? Do we need to educate them about La Liga, about Lamine Yamal, about players? Or maybe they're there, but we don't have the relationship. And that's exactly the case. When you see the numbers on the third-party publishers, be it with everything you can think about, from the newspapers to publishers to whatnot, through the different search engines. Because when you click on the Google search bar and you look for, be it Real Madrid versus Alaves or whatever, the first content you'll see lives in Google. So they get the traffic. Now, I'm not telling you do not work with Google. Please do. Please do. But use it in a smart way. Use it in a way where you build the relationship so you can then take these people, these fans, and funnel them to the owned and operated. Hook them, then make sure that they fall in love with the content you create, and then let them live in the campfire, in the OTT, in your owned and operated. And we're all fighting the same fight. And it's not only with sport. We're doing it day and night, and we're fighting the attention. And the winning will only be the ones who can turn the reach into relationship. Hook, fall in love, live. That's the spirit. That's what you need to think about when you create content. I'm not saying create more content. I'm not telling you you need to now bring 10 editors and no, it's not that. But use it smart, in a smart way where you can bring the relevant content and own the relationship. How we believe this should be done. That's a new fan journey. You start with shorts and highlights, daily habits that live, as you can see here, on all the social channels, on all the relevant publishers. You need the reach. You need to start from somewhere. You need the highlights. You need the 10, 20, 30, 40 seconds highlight that create the hook. Then, move to the mid-form. Use it either as behind the scene, either as a highlight of a game, a daily recap. Use it to bring them over closer. And then, that's the time when they already feel more comfortable into the live event, into the owned and operated, and where you can really monetize. And it's not about creating more content. It's creating the right content at the right format at the right time. And as long as you can create the data from each and every stage, you'll win the relationship. But if you believe that all you need to do is just spray and pray, you won't get the data. You won't get the relationship. You won't get the fans. Someone else will. So, some examples. We start with create. We have 3 formats: short, mid, and live. With short, you need to create content. You should. Maybe I'm too aggressive. So you should. You should create content that travels. You need the viral thing, right? You need someone to say, oh, wow, that's amazing. Then share it. It can be behind the scenes. It can be a dribble. It can be something that speaks to the audience. Then, and these are some examples, hockey examples, few of those. But you can see, it lives on every single channel, from the NHL to Red Bull to everything can be created and published, as long as you have the rights. Then, make sure to localize the content for the right audience. And this is an example from the NBA.
Et le deuxième match des finales NBA à Boston, les Celtics tentent de porter l'avantage à 2-0 dans la série.
That's in French. Same highlight. The second will be in Portuguese.
Luka Doncic faz a primeira cesta do jogo com bonito fadeaway.
And the third will be in
Llega el
Spanish.
tiro y Boston lanza el contragolpe. Jaylen Brown con un gran pase hacia adelante para Al Horford que la clava con autoridad. El dominicano fue titular.
What this means in reality is
Luka
that
en
we
los controles
target,
defendido por Tatum. Intenta el tiro de media distancia y ya el tiro. Y
we target the audience. We know that if we speak their language, there's a higher chance that they will get the contact. They will get closer. They will use the content. They will share it maybe. Now, you don't need 4 people translating. With today's technology, you can do it automatically. And this is exactly why AI is so powerful. The second part is the mid-form. And you have 2 examples here. One from the NBA,
Welcome to NBA Daily, where we catch up on a night full of action.
What you see
Starting
here,
the night off in Washington, D.C.,
completely
where Uncle Jeff was turning back the
AI.
clock. Speaking of turning back the clock, look at what the King did. Despite that, Klay had fun with his new teammates.
Second is the NHL. Again,
Day 3 of the 2024 Stanley Cup
AI
playoffs. Let's get you caught up as
only.
the first round rolls on. The defending champions from Vegas began their quest for a second title with a win on the road against Dallas, the top seed in the West. And
this means that you suddenly create a daily routine for them to use, to come back to the owned and operated. What you saw with the NBA is exactly that. The content lives in the owned and operated. They use it on social, they use it on Google, but then you'll be driven, you'll be led to the owned and operated of the NBA, and this is where you consume the content. Moving to the last create part is the live. How can we create a better experience for the fans? Again, we spoke about the lean forward approach. If I'm a fan and I'm interested in Lionel Messi, I want to jump, I want to make sure to see the relevant content. It can be statistics, it can be highlights, it can be behind the scenes, but I want to control it. And it's important that we do so because this is the only way fans will stay with us. Otherwise, they will go elsewhere. Another example. Again, the NBA, where you can jump between events. So you can see on the left side, you can jump between 3 pointers. So it's a play-by-play, and you as a fan can jump either to catch up or to see different actions. But that's, again, the lean forward approach. Now, talking about engagement, one important thing, after we created the relevant content, is how we better engage with the fans. How can we collect data during this process? So you can see here on the left side with magenta, where it appears on Google, the relevant story that we create, but the call to action is there. And if you want to consume it, you click and you'll be redirected to the owned and operated. Okay? And same goes with Dine. A post went live on Facebook, you created a hook, and then you move to the owned and operated of Dine. And again, some other examples where you can really feel the funnel, at least the first two parts of the funnel. Now, let's pause for a second. How many of you are familiar with the Spotify and Barcelona case, or the sponsorship case? Katie. Talk to us. No? You used to rap, you're good. No, but I'll make it short. Spotify paid a fortune for a sponsorship deal with Barcelona. Now, any idea how many fans Barcelona claim to have? Ish? Good. 350. Now, grosso modo, right? So, 350 million. How many of those are identified fans? Any idea? Come on. 20, 30%, 40%? 1%. And this means that when they made the sponsorship deal, suddenly they understood that following a club is one thing, but if you want to target the relevant audience, you don't have it. And when we spoke about owning the relationship, this means that 99% of the ownership is not theirs. It's someone else's journey. And now they're investing a lot of time, a lot of effort to capture back and to bring the followers into identified fans. And that's quite of a journey, because one thing is to have a fan liking a page or whatever. Another thing is to get to know them and to understand what they like, where are they from, and so on and so forth. So I'm sure you don't have yet the problem of Barcelona with 350 towards 1%, But I think it's important that you keep this in mind and you try to think about how to get the fans closer. And what we're trying to do, and again, I'll be quick, you have fans all over, the 350 million, and you know that, and we presented it also as part of La Liga, you know that they live somewhere. That's the rented part. They live on social, they live on third party, and they live on the search engine. They live outside. By the way, Google, Netflix, YouTube, Amazon, they're making amazing job. And we need to learn from them. But at the same time, we also need to think about ourselves. And this is where the owned and operated comes to play. And you see that the conversion coming from the third party, where we do not own the relationship, to the owned and operated, where we do own the relationship, but to some extent. And then we identify the relevant users. And we give them a name. And we understand that they like Lewandowski, and that they love Ovechkin, or that they love someone else. So we know what to do with it. Suddenly we can monetize them, be it through subscription, be it through relevant sponsorship deals, and this is what we're trying to do. Okay? To maximize the reach and the acquisition, and to build the relevant audience. Now, before we move on, and I spoke about it a bit about the next generation, are we investing enough time and effort in the next generation? I would say that I don't think so. I think we keep the same formats that we used to consume or that we are consuming, and we hope for the best. And what we need to think about is how to build the next fandom. And our friends from Two Circles have a great research with one conclusion. 50% of sports fandoms are made by 14. 50% of fandoms are made by 14. This means that we need to invest early on with the right content. How we do it. This is an example we did with the Premier League, one of our clients. Overall, this is the way I consume today. That's not the way I consume, but that's a very appealing way for the younger generation. And they can switch between the relevant filters. And suddenly, they want to have their own character. They get closer. Suddenly, they talk about it. That's on the engaging part. That's on creating the relevant content. But let's hook them. Let's bring the relevant audience with the right effect. And let's engage, and you see on the right side, what we're doing with La Liga, it's I would say, micro game where you need to guess the player. It's a simple tweak, but it captures the audience. And in order to participate, you need to register. And if you want to then continue, you need to provide more details. Now, one thing we're super proud of, and it is public so you can also look for it, is what we're doing with the NBA around kids. And I truly believe that this is one of the key aspects that the entire hockey ecosystem should look into.
Hey Hoops fans, welcome back to another Slam Dunk episode. I'm Allie, and this is Oop.
What's up, Hoopsters? Get ready to jump into the fast lane with Tyrese Halliburton, the speedy point guard who races through the court like an Indy 500 winner.
Meet Tyrese Halliburton. He's 24 years old, 6 feet 5 inches, plays point guard, and wears number 0 for the Indiana Pacers. He's also got a cool fashion style off the court. His looks are as sharp as his game. Oh, and Oop, guess what? He was born on February 29th, leap year day. So technically, he's only 6 years old.
Really? So he's a big kid on the outside, but a little kid at heart.
Tyrese grew up in Osh.
Now, this brings the younger audience. And it's not about live. This is evergreen content that you can then use and reuse and bring a younger audience again. And you can do it with academies, you can do it with daily recap, you can do it with whatever you want. Just imagine that you have now a weekly show led by Spider-Man, led by Pokemon, led by Asterix, that basically shows what happened in hockey in the World Champ from their eyes. Not from our eyes, from their eyes. Now, let's talk business. We all know it's great, we need to create more, we need to be relevant, but we also need to generate revenues. Because otherwise, it's just not enough. And there are various ways to monetize it. The first, as we all know, is advertisement. The metrics that one should look for is pretty clear. The fill rate and the CPM. The fill rate stands for how much or how many advertisement you can bring to the inventory that you have. One would say you can bring as many because you have programmatic. That's not the case, because you need to bring relevant advertisement. You don't want to bring something that it's not relevant because you will hinder the experience. So you need to be smart about it. Then you also need to make sure that you have the right CPMs. So if you believe that we can get rich out of advertisement like this with programmatic, the answer is no, not yet. Because you need millions of views in order to be relevant. The CPM, every dollar that you bring, be it $3, $4, $5, $10 CPM, means that you get $10 for one advertisement for 1,000 people. Then you just multiply it. So it's one thing, you think about it. I think that in the world of sponsorship, direct sponsorship, because let's be honest, hockey fans are a very important group that can be targeted by relevant brands, and you need to then show how they can interact with the relevant brand. And you need to be smart about it. The second thing is how to then integrate the relevant advertisement into the experience. The second thing is commerce. The metrics are click to basket. If we want to sell merchandise, if we want to sell ticketing, if we want to sell anything, equipment. Yesterday, I think in the conversation, they were talking about the equipment that is expensive 100%. But then let's understand how we sell it better while getting, of course, a better price. But we also then need to understand what is the flow. How many clicks one needs to go through before they buy it. And if we believe that 10 clicks is too much, then let's make sure that we simplify the process. Then, of course, the conversion, and that's pretty, I think, straightforward. I don't need to speak about it. The idea here is really to create the relevant content with the relevant merchandise, the relevant sale, because this is how it works today. And last but not least, the subscription. Again, short, mid, live. When you want to sell subscription, they need to be ready for that. And in order to be ready, they need to trust the brand. They need to understand what they're paying for. They need to have already the hook and to fall in love with your content and your product. And what you're trying to achieve here is as many people in the trial phase converted into paid. And the average revenue per user is key here. Here are some examples of things that we do. So with the zone, you can see the stories that appear on Google. And then when you click, you'll be redirected to the zone, or you can buy directly from here. So you click, and then you pay. E-commerce for the relevant players that appear in the story that we create. And the stories, by the way, that we create are yours. They're not going on Insta. They will live on your owned and operated, which means that we create the same experience that you would expect from Instagram in your channel. And of course, subscription. Other examples is, again, the player shirt, ticket sales with the Knicks, World Rugby, and so on and so forth. It's endless. Another angle is the full takeover of the betting. So you see, you have a story, Bet365. This is not programmatic, this is direct. So Bet365 are paying to basically get the entire look and feel. And you have the relevant thing, and you see sometimes the odds and what you can do with it, and then call to action. So that's the business aspect of it. Before we end, I wanted to show you the full process on how it looks on Google, and when the next time you look for a game and you see this, you can remember that you saw this also here, because we are basically the ones doing it for the industry. In Google, we have the integration with Google, but you see that, let's start again. You see that you look for the right content, and then you jump to the relevant page on the Google One box, you click on it, and then you'll be redirected to the story, and then watch now through the owned and operated. That was me. Thank you so much for listening. I hope I did not bore you. Thanks a lot. Just water.
Is that?
Water.
You want water?
Spoke too much.